You don't need to be born into money. You don't need a six-figure salary or a business empire. What you do need is the right mindset and the right map. The truth is, building wealth from scratch isn't about luck. It's about learning from people who've already done it and applying their wisdom step by step. There's no better shortcut to that wisdom than a bookshelf full of the right books. In this video, I'll walk you through 10 books that can help you build real wealth, even if you're starting from zero. Each one changed how I think about money, success, and freedom. These aren't just books to read, they're books to live by. Let's get into it. Book 1, Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin. This book doesn't start with numbers. It starts with awareness. Vicki Robin wants you to ask one powerful question. How much of your life are you trading for money? When I first read this, it was like waking up in someone else's life. I had been spending unconsciously, buying things to feel progress, to feel worth, to feel something. But all I was really doing was spending my time, my energy, my freedom on things that didn't matter. Robin teaches you to calculate your real hourly wage, not just what your boss says you make, but what you actually earn after taxes, commuting, clothing, and stress. Then you track every dollar you spend and ask, was it worth it? What struck me most wasn't how much I was spending, it was how little I was truly valuing my time. This book is about transforming your relationship with money, from mindless consumer to conscious creator. It's not about cutting costs, it's about choosing your life. If you want to build wealth from $0, start by valuing every dollar like it's a piece of your life, because it is. Book 2, The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley. This book shattered the image I had of what a millionaire looks like. I used to think wealth meant flashy suits, luxury cars, and exotic vacations. But Stanley's research showed that most real millionaires live in modest neighborhoods, drive reliable used cars, and buy their clothes on sale. What do they have in common? They live below their means, invest consistently, and don't care what others think. They prioritize financial freedom over status. I remember reading a story about a millionaire couple who drove 10-year-old cars, clipped coupons, and budgeted every expense. But they were debt-free, had millions invested, and never worried about bills. The big idea isn't just frugality, it's intentionality. Real wealth is often invisible. The person next door might be rich, not because they look it, but because they act like it. This book gave me permission to stop performing wealth and start building it quietly, deliberately, and with long-term vision. Book 3, I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. This book changed the way I design my financial life. Ramit doesn't talk down to you. He gives you systems. He shows you how to automate your savings, optimize your credit, and invest for the long term, all without guilt-tripping you over a latte. The line that stuck with me: spend extravagantly on the things you love, as long as you cut costs mercilessly on the things you don't. That flipped the script for me. I stopped nickel and diming everything. Instead, I focused on building a system where the big stuff, saving, investing, debt, was on autopilot. That way, I could enjoy the small things without anxiety. If you're starting from zero, this book is like having a smart, slightly sarcastic older sibling walk you through everything, from bank accounts to Roth IRAs. And most importantly, it makes money feel doable. Book 4, The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. I was overwhelmed by investing until I read this book. J.L. Collins wrote it as a letter to his daughter, but it felt like he wrote it for me. He strips investing down to its essence. Buy low-cost total market index funds. Don't try to beat the market. Avoid debt and stay the course. The way he explains it makes you feel calm, not anxious. He introduces the concept of FU money, having enough saved that you can walk away from anything that doesn't serve you. When I read this, I stopped trying to chase hot stocks or perfect timing. I realized that wealth doesn't come from brilliance. It comes from consistency. If you've ever felt paralyzed about where to start with investing, start with this book. It's the investment advice I wish I got in my 20s. Book 5, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This book isn't about budgets or spreadsheets. It's about why we do dumb things with money, even when we know better. Morgan Housel's insight is this: financial success is not about intelligence, it's about behavior. He shares story after story about people who made millions and lost it all, and people who had modest incomes and became wealthy. The difference? Patience, humility, emotional control. One story that stuck with me was about a janitor who quietly invested for decades and ended up a millionaire, while a high-earning executive went bankrupt. It reminded me, wealth is what you don't see. It's the money saved, the ego restrained, the risks not taken. This book helped me see that managing money is about managing yourself. And the more emotionally grounded you are, the wealthier you're likely to become. Book 6, The Dhandho Investor by Mohnish Pabrai. This book quietly transformed how I see investment risk. Mohnish Pabrai simplifies value investing with a mantra: heads I win, tails I don't lose much. He draws from Indian street vendors, Buffett-style value investing, and his own experience managing millions. The takeaway? You don't need a PhD to invest well. You need patience, clarity, and a good deal at a low risk. I used to believe investing was about big swings, finding the next Amazon or Tesla. But this book taught me to flip that. Look for minimal downside, and upside will take care of itself. It gave me the confidence to slow down, wait for the right opportunities, and stop gambling with my future. If you're starting from zero, this book teaches you how to stack the odds in your favor, without needing Wall Street smarts. Book 7, One Up on Wall Street, by Peter Lynch. Lynch changed how I look at the world. His insight? The average investor has a massive advantage. We see trends in real life before the pros do. You don't need a Bloomberg terminal, you need awareness. If the coffee shop down your street is always packed, or your kids are obsessed with a certain brand, that might be a signal worth watching. Lynch explains how to use what you know to spot winning companies, long before the analysts catch on. And more importantly, he urges patience. His best investments were held for years. It taught me to look at the businesses behind the stocks, not just the tickers. Book 8, The Little Book of Common Sense. Investing by John Bogle. Bogle doesn't just teach you to invest. He teaches you to ignore 99% of the noise. His central idea? Most investors lose to the market because of high fees and bad timing. So buy the entire market through a low-cost index fund, then hold it. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it works. And it's the foundation of nearly every millionaire portfolio you've never heard about. Bogle gave me a sense of peace in a chaotic market. He made me realize that I don't need to know everything. I just need a long-term plan and the discipline to stick with it. If you're new to investing, this book is your starting line. Book 9, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, by Robert Kiyosaki. This was the first book that made me think like an owner, not an employee. Kiyosaki contrasts his poor dad, who focused on job security, with his rich dad, who taught him to build and buy assets. The game changer? Understanding the difference between assets and liabilities. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes it out. Most people buy liabilities thinking they're assets. A bigger house, a fancy car. But the wealthy? They buy things that make them money. Real estate, stocks, businesses. Kiyosaki made me rethink everything from how I earn to how I spend. And that shift from consumer to investor is the beginning of wealth. Book 10, The Psychology of Wealth, by Charles Richards. This one's not as famous, but it's one of the most powerful. It helped me understand why some people build wealth and others sabotage it. Richards dives into the emotional baggage we carry around money: shame, fear, scarcity. He shows how our childhood, beliefs, and identity shape how we earn, save, and invest. He made me realize that no strategy will work if you don't believe you deserve to win. The quote that hit me hardest: "Money is a mirror. It reflects how you see yourself." This book helped me rewrite the story I had about wealth, and that changed everything else. Final reflection. If you're starting from zero, these 10 books are more than just information. They're transformation. They'll help you build the mindset, habits, and confidence to take control of your financial life. One idea, one page at a time. Wealth isn't a finish line. It's a direction. And reading the right books puts you on the path. Thanks for being here. This is Read to Think. Learn smarter. Live better.